Okay, so when I say lazy boy, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably your grandpa's favorite recliner, right? Well, what if I told you that this iconic, nearly 100-year-old brand is in the middle of a massive reinvention? Yeah, the furniture market is struggling, but Lazy Boy isn't just sitting back. They're making some seriously bold moves to win over a whole new generation. So, let's break down their playbook.
So in a market this choppy, you've really got two options, right? You can either hunker down and just wait for the storm to pass, or you can get out there and chart your own course. Well, Lazy Boy has made its choice crystal clear.
And that choice boils down to one simple idea from their CEO. Create your own momentum. We're not talking about just reacting to what the market throws at them. Nope. This is a full-on proactive strategy and is built on three key pillars designed to drive growth no matter what the economy is doing. So let's dive into that first pillar.
All right, first up, expansion. And I mean, instead of pulling back like you might expect, Lazy Boy is doing the exact opposite. They are getting way more aggressive, growing their physical stores and taking more direct control over the entire customer journey.
So what's the headline move here? They just acquired a 15-store network in the Southeast. And look, this isn't just some small pickup. This is the single largest independent store acquisition in the company's entire history. That is a massive, confident bet on the power of brick-and-mortar retail.
And you've got to look at where they're buying. These are not just random pins on a map. They are strategically targeting what they call attractive, high-growth markets. We're talking major hubs in places like Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee. This is a super deliberate move to plant their flag right where the economic growth is.
Now, this acquisition, it's actually part of a much bigger story. Company-owned stores now make up a whopping 60% of their entire network. And to put that in perspective, just 5 years ago, that number was only 45%. So you can see they are rapidly shifting away from a franchise-heavy model to one where they control the whole shebang. The stores, the experience, everything.
Okay, so the second pillar of their strategy might sound like the complete opposite of expansion, but stick with me because it's actually the perfect complement. While they're getting bigger and expanding in those key markets, they're also getting much leaner and more focused on what they do best.
For starters, they're in the middle of this massive multi-year supply chain overhaul. I mean, they're consolidating from 15 sprawling distribution centers all the way down to just 3 centralized hubs. Can you just imagine the savings, the efficiency? It's a huge move toward becoming a much more agile company. They're also sharpening their focus by, well, trimming the fat. They're cutting away parts of the business that aren't absolutely central to their mission. So that means getting out of non-core furniture brands, proposing to close their UK manufacturing, and even realigning their leadership. It's all about putting all their energy into the core business that made them famous in the first place.
So you can expand and you can get lean, but if you don't actually connect with today's customer, what's the point? It's all for nothing. And that right there brings us to the third and final pillar, modernizing the brand and reaching a whole new generation of buyers.
And you know what? You couldn't ask for a better summary of what they're trying to do than this headline, which the CEO himself proudly shared. The reaction to their big rebrand has been just overwhelmingly positive. They are taking that old-fashioned brand perception head-on, and they are working to make comfort cool again. And they're not just doing this in their own stores. Oh no, they're expanding their reach through some really smart partners, like Living Spaces and even Costco, getting their stuff in front of new eyeballs in over 350 locations. The target here is crystal clear. They're going after millennials and Gen X. And why? Well, think about it. These are the generations buying homes right now, furnishing them for the long haul. So grabbing their attention isn't just about a quick sales boost. It's about securing the entire future of the brand.
So you've got these three pillars, right? Expansion, simplification, and modernization. And it's so important to see that these aren't just a bunch of random tactics thrown at a wall. They are all part of a much bigger, much more cohesive plan that the company calls its Century Vision.
And they've put some very clear and I'd say pretty ambitious numbers behind this vision. The goal is to consistently grow at double the rate of the overall market and deliver steady double-digit operating margins. That is a high bar, and it basically frames every single strategic decision they're making right now.
So there you have it, the Lazy Boy playbook for a tough market. It's not about finding one single silver bullet. It's about these three pillars all working together in perfect harmony. You expand where it counts, you simplify to become ruthlessly efficient, and you modernize to connect with the customers of tomorrow.
And all of this leaves us with one big, fascinating question. I mean, we all know La-Z-Boy has absolutely mastered comfort for nearly 100 years. But with this new, aggressive, forward-looking playbook, this mix of expansion, simplification, and rebranding, are they setting themselves up to become not just the king of comfort, but maybe the king of cool for the next generation? Now that is something we'll be watching.